anyway, I thought I would make a video about tips for depression, because I actually have depression a lot, and pretty much had like my whole life since I was about 15. Is definitely going to seem to be like kind of clinical, but I felt it since I was in like elementary school. I could even feel it. Like it would be like I remember it was like one of my first days of going to school. Like I was waiting for my mom to pick me up, and it was kindergarten, and it was a beautiful, completely beautiful sunny day, and all these other people were all smiling and all happy, and then they were going home and stuff. But then I just felt really sad, and there was completely no reason to feel sad. It was a good day and nothing was going on, yet I felt sad. So really, ever since then, I've had like feelings of depression. But really, I only have been actually starting to get, like, figure out a way to sort of feel better, just in general, lately. And a lot of that was something that I never really knew or didn't really sort of took for granted, and something that I didn't really understand, which a lot of it actually has to do with diet. So for me, like, I've tried just about every type of SSRI out there, and none of them would help. They would help for maybe 3 weeks, and then they would stop working. And half of them, after the first 3 weeks, would actually make me feel even worse, and would almost cause a different type of depression on top of the depression I already had, making me feel even really bad and really hopeless and such. But anyway, I know for, like, myself, I've noticed that, I didn't really realize that this was going to really help depression. I actually have really, really bad acid reflux, and I have really bad sensitivities to a lot of food. Like that, just a lot of food that people eat all the time, like just snack food, things with bread in it, cheese, dairy, like marinara sauce, all this type of stuff, and so many other things I can't even think of just right off the top of my head right now. But so much of like, and like lean cuisines, like, you know, like regular frozen dinners of all that type of stuff. All that stuff made me feel sick. I would be sick after I eat. I felt sick all the time. Like I was eating just the type of foods that normally everyone would eat, and I just felt sick, like, all the time. So then I started, between that and acid reflux, and then I was gaining a lot of weight, and I was getting really bloated, and then I was feeling even more crappy because I didn't like the way I looked anymore, and I was just getting big and stuff. So then I started, doing basically an acid reflux. It started as an acid reflux diet, and then I started realizing I had a sensitivity to gluten as well. So then I started doing a mostly free gluten diet. So I basically became acid reflux free, so everything that triggers acid reflux, which is like sodas, coffee, chocolate, candy, lots of sugar, like over amounts of sugars, bread would even trigger it. It's just between that, and then I eliminated a lot of dairy, so I eliminated regular milk. Even though I was drinking non-fat milk, it still was bothering me. Cheese, yeah, those two main things, milk and cheese, especially cheese. So then between those things, I eliminated that stuff, and then I started losing some weight, but then also all my acid reflux symptoms just went away. And I would be a person, like, I would eat some food at a restaurant, because my girlfriend's family is really, really big into eating at restaurants, when it's just like, it's too much food, and then it's really rich, and then it usually has all those triggers in it, and it's always, the routine was eat the food, and then pop the acid reflux tablet, and that was like my life. Like every time I had to eat food, and then I was starting to throw up and spit up even when taking those things, and then I would take the 14-day course treatments, the Osmoprolol thing, Prolasac, Pepsid, all that stuff. none of it would help. None of it would cure it, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. But anyway, the point is that, so I did these things. They helped with acid reflux. They helped with my gluten problem. They helped with I was just a little bit overweight. I was also very bloated, and helped with that. I stopped feeling sick. But something else that happened that I didn't realize that was also going on was that I stopped feeling depressed. And that all these type of foods, these modern type of foods that that haven't really exactly been here since the dawn of time, but stuff that's just been very artificialized and very processed, very, with the over-marketing type of thing, all that stuff, it made me feel sick, but it was also, I now realize, was actually also causing me to have depression. Like, it's just like my body, it just couldn't handle it. It couldn't break it down. It couldn't digest it. So then, I was obviously having a nutritional problem. So then I started taking supplements, because I was like, okay, well, my body wasn't digesting a lot of this stuff, so I'm going to take some supplements to help myself feel nourished, get nutrients, because my body was not absorbing nutrients very good at all. It was just really bad. So then I started taking every day a multivitamin, even though multivitamins do have some metals in it that can be bad if you take it for years and years and years down the road, but just in the beginning right now, it's been fine. Been taking a multivitamin, vitamin C, and those are like the two things that most people know about as far as vitamins. But then I started feeling I was having depression now, and I read some books of depression, and I found out the discovery of two different supplements that became very important, which was B12 and omega-3s. And then I learned that the body does not naturally it does not naturally generate those things. You can only get it from a diet, and you can only get it from certain foods. Just like the B12 is in like lean chicken, omega-3 is in good fish, like not pre-breaded fish, but in just real fish. So then I started taking those supplements, and those two things very, 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 very key for helping depression. The B12, it speeds up your metabolism, and it gives you energy. You feel, a big part of what the depression was, you don't have energy. You're like a sloth. You feel like a couch potato. You feel fat. You feel bloated. You feel like your mind is so heavy. Your body is so heavy. It's all that the world is just too heavy to really move, and you become feeling immobilized. But then the B12, it helped launch an energy. It's like, wow, I have this potential energy now, and that energy kind of was the bridge to give me the motivation to then work out, to then get out of the house, and then to then look nice, and to then try to just feel better. And then I did those other things, which made me feel even more better. So the B12 is a very strong energy producing thing. And fish oil, well, that's what I take. The supplement I take is fish oil for omega-3s. But omega-3s are the fatty acids, and what it is the fatty acids, they help restore parts all around in the brain. The brain is actually 50 to 60% made up of fat, but it's of fat cells that help protect it, and when it's not there, then it can create other mental illnesses, anywhere from depression to anywhere pretty extreme. So then, when I started taking the fish oil for omega-3s, then that also helped with just the depression. It doesn't give you the energy, but it helps with depression. So those were the big things. My diet, if you want to know what I do eat and what I drink and stuff all the time, is I drink lots of water, at least as much as I can. Water's probably the best thing. My substitute for milk is almond milk. That's what I drink as my substitute for milk. I eat lots and lots of lean chicken. For me, my diet, according to my blood type, it's supposed to be all vegetable is the best, but for me, my body responds the very best to lean chicken. just lean chicken with no breading. It makes me feel full, it makes me feel energized, and it like feels clean. Like it's just how it is. So I eat those things like lean chicken. For bread, there's a really good brand called Udis bread. I buy it at Trader Joe's. I buy the whole grain, gluten-free bread by Udis Bread, and that's for my carbs. And it tastes terrific. It tastes like so much better than any blue ribbon white bread or potato bread or anything out there. And it doesn't. And the big important thing is, does not make me feel sick. Now, I would still feel a little hungry though, so I still have to eat other things. So I try to have salads as much as possible, not iceberg, but more darker greens that are big, dark, leafy greens. I put on fat-free Italian dressing. That doesn't seem to bother me. So I have that. Bananas, oranges, blueberries, strawberries sometimes. Not too much though. But blueberries are really, really good for you. Bananas are really good for you. And other things like I had, like there was like a fat-free mac and cheese that was at Trader Joe's one time. And, well, it was there. It's not there now. I was using that. It was kind of like just sort of my cheese fix, but it wouldn't make me sick. And then I would have like really, really, really light, fat-free type of snacks. It still has wheat though, but it's still so much less. Pretty much the richer it is, the more dense it is, the more processed it is, the more bad for you it is. So you want to kind of eat foods that's the most clean, and you kind of have to think about the foods that have always been here, that like the human race has always lived on and has always been fine and still living on. That's like a big thing of it, as far as just feeling better and with depression. And then pretty much the rest of it really is all cognitive stuff. For me, it's a big thinking. Let me see how I am on here. Okay, still. Cognitive for me, a big thing that really I sort of figured out and helped me was that basically people could always talk shit about you. Like, they always could say, you suck, or you can't do this, or you shouldn't do this, or I'm angry at you, or I don't accept you. It's like, it's basically like people just are so easy can do that, and I think part of having depression is getting caught sort of like paying attention to it too much and taking it so hard on yourself, and not being able to escape those thoughts out of your head, and eventually submitting to those thoughts from other people. And then it's like you end up living basically, you don't end up living anymore for yourself. And once you stop living for yourself, that makes you feel depressed, because when you stop living for yourself, you then feel a sense of trapped. And that trappedness feels sort of suffocating, it feels very limiting, and then you feel depressed. So the key cognitively to not feel depressed is for your mind to feel as free as it can be, for you to feel as free as you can be, and as relaxed as you can be. The more outward is better. The more inward is bad. Like if you, and when I don't mean invert, I don't mean necessarily being introverted. I mean when you feel that you can't leave your house because you're going to be attacked or someone's going to hate you. That would make you feel depressed, because that's a limitation. If you want to take a trip somewhere and you're just too scared and you can't do it, that would make you feel depressed. If there's something that you really want to do, or a movie you want to watch, or a person you want to be friends with, or something that you want to do and you can't, makes you feel depressed. And I've noticed that a lot of the human race is constantly being in situations where they think that they can't do something. And instead of being the big adult that they should be and just make themselves happy, they end up going to people who they see are doing some things that they want, and they try to get them to stop doing what they want and to try to bring them down to their level. So And they could disguise it in trying to help you. They'd be like, oh look, I really do care about you, I'm just saying this to help you. Could be saying that, but I've seen it at least half the time, people actually having bad intent, and they just don't want to admit to themselves because they don't want to think of themselves as some bad person when they really are being a bad person in that moment. So the big thing is to really, you got to be able to take control of your life. You got to be able to feel that you can do what you want, feel that you can express what you want. I'm not saying go out and kill people or something. I'm not saying go out, run around naked, and break the law. I'm not saying to break the law. That's not really, no, you don't do that. But basically, you live as much as you can without, in a sense, breaking the law. So, just because someone will look down on you, it's not breaking the law. You should be able to just suck it up and just do it anyway. If it's something that you really want to do, and the fact that you're able to push yourself and do something that people might, tisk you about or something, and you're able to just do it, and then you kind of experience your own little scare, and then you find your own comfort zone, you're able to overcome that fear, that it helps. It can be in so many little things. It could be just recording a video here, it could be anything. So that's the big thing, is that the more inwardly trapped you feel, cognitively, mentally, about living your life or expressing yourself or anything, the more depressed you're going to be. So you got to be able to push yourself most outward as possible. I mean, why not? You only have one life to live, so there's no point of, I understand people trying to please other people, but the fact is that a lot of people, they cannot be pleased. They, once you give up the power to someone else, once you give up the power, the approval, the validation, anything of someone else, that you need to sort of live through someone else's words or thoughts, then they can do anything they want to you, and they fucking will. They will run you over, they will manipulate you, they will abuse you, they'll anything. And that's the very dark, bad side of human race. But, so anyway, I hope that helps. It was a very scattered video because it was impromptu. I didn't have a list or anything. But that's pretty much it. Okay.